Hello, Assalamu alaikum everybody. Hope you're all safe, sound, and healthy. And now let's talk about the necessity, the need for people to come out. Why? Why is there this need all of a sudden? I mean, why is your sexual preference or orientation suddenly important when it has nothing whatsoever to do with your professional life? I'm sorry, I don't get that. Somebody needs to clue me in because I really don't get that. I have never understood that, and now even more so, I do not understand it. I am sitting wondering why is it that, for example, uh, Bane recently had to come out officially. He's a Korean idol of, I think, Just Be, the band Just Be. Now, I do not follow Korean music, to be honest. I mean, actually, no. I have been listening to Korean music for a very, very long time before it even became all the rave. And I'm not talking about the boy band music or the girl band music, I'm talking about the actual OSTs used in their dramas and generally. Okay, so yeah, I'm not one of those K-pop fans. Never wasn't a huge music fan of anything in any case anyway, because I listen to all kinds of music, but I'm not a fan of any music. Okay, so in other words, I generally don't listen to music. Okay, but at the same time, I have somehow managed to get a heap hole of knowledge of music around me and singers around me because of some of the other different activities that I do pursue or I'm interested in. And so they kind of pop in and pop out. So there you are. I mean, they are part of life, isn't it? Anything and everything that's part of life, you do get some exposure of them whatsoever, even if you're not actively pursuing knowledge based on that particular industry or subject or whatever. But I am of the industry, I mean, qualification wise, as well as once upon a time professionally. I am part of the media, so I guess it's just only normal and natural for me to somehow or the other just find out what's going on in the media, whether I want to or not. So there we are. Point being, again, you remember I have done quite a number of podcasts on why everybody's sexualizing everything. What happened to platonic relationships? What happened to, keeping the innocence in children? What happened to, all of that? And I think people need to stop sexualizing relationships because that's not normal. So they need to stop normalizing the abnormalities of the world because, again, what we are trying to fight against is what we are ultimately pushing on others. As is, I've given many examples of that. I do not want to repeat myself. So let's just stay on the topic at hand. For example, okay, you're a singer. People come to you to listen to you sing, right? You're an actor. People come because they want to see you act. You're a doctor. People come to you because you're a doctor. You're a nurse. People come to you because you're a nurse. You're a teacher. People are learning from you because you're a teacher. You get what I'm saying here, right? We're all, our relationships with each other is on a professional level, you can say. Why the need to strip people bare? Why the need to actively want to find out something that is deeply personal and has nothing whatsoever to do with their professional capacity? As I said, what does anybody being hetero or homo have to do with their capacity as a singer or as an actor or as a doctor or as a teacher or as a pilot or as a politician or whatever? Why the need to know? I mean, I'm sure these are probably one of the things that the Prophet, peace be upon him, talked about when he said there are certain things that you do not open up and spread around to the whole world, right? There are certain things that you should just shut up and move on from, right? For example, why do I need to know somebody's sexual orientation? Does that person's um, activity has anything to do with having sex with anybody? I mean, is he supposed to be performing some sexual act? on stage or in a drama, or what. And even if they are okay in a drama, for example, if there is some sort of a nudity scene, or a sexual scene, again, what the hell does that have to do with their actual orientation? I don't know, because they're acting, right? They're just acting. Be done with it, move on. I'm sorry, but I don't get it. It's just like how I'll say it again. Whoever began this myth that celebrities are public figures, that means they're owned by the public, um, it's wrong. Whoever began that myth, that person needs to be flogged at least 100 times, because that person created a very, very, very wrong justification for prying into other people's lives. This is what we call being nosy. Like how you don't like people being nosy about you, regardless of whatever the profession is that the other person has, you have no right to being nosy with that person or about that person. Why the hell do I need to know if somebody is of the LGBTQ community or of the straight community? Again, what does it have to do with me? So I would say, although apart from that, now let's go on to the a sort of a negative side. And I'm not talking about these idols now who are coming out. I am talking about the industry that is so actively promoting celebrities, um, by either faking them being of the LGBTQ community, or them encouraging them to out themselves being there if they really are. And I think that this is, what I would refer to as negative PR or negative marketing, because it's negative because you're using that person's personal, deeply, deeply personal, private, uh, you know, uh, life, to promote that person. Why? Are their talents not good enough for you? So this active need, because this is something I noticed in the Thai media especially, and I started really feeling very bad for the young actors and the actresses of the Thai media community. And that was like, seriously, why are you doing this? These are straight guys, and you are pushing them into doing BL dramas and BL movies. Why? Because that is now the quick ticket to promotion. You know what I'm saying? Why you don't rely on their talent? Is that it? You Before, you always had these fuzzy, innocent, cute, romantic dramas with which you used to introduce your new actors and actresses, and now the only way you know how to introduce them is through BL. And another reason why also I'll say I feel sad is because, mind you, the LGBTQ community is not composed of very good people either. And I'm going to tell you why. Because people at the end are people. And again, as I said, who cares about your sexual orientation or your sexual preference? Because at the end of the day, what you're dealing with are people, not their sexual preferences. So don't assume that because they belong to this minority, victimized community, they're all going to be good people. No, because essentially, when you're talking with other people or when you're communicating with other people, you don't see religion, you don't see sexual orientation, you don't see sexual preferences, you don't see gender, you don't see anything. Seriously, when you're just communicating, you're communicating person to person, human being to human being, everything goes out the window, and that's a fact. Okay, that is a fact. When you're generally communicating with anybody, you do not communicate with any bias in mind. These things come later when you sit and think about it, or when there's some deliberate conversation, pertaining to these subjects. But again, for example, who cares who's Sunni? Who cares who's Shia? Who cares who's Wahhabi? Who cares who's Hindu? Who cares who's Christian? Who cares who's Jew, right? In your normal everyday lives, when you're communicating with each other, do you begin your conversation by asking them what religion they belong to? No. Do you start your communication with somebody else, first of all, asserting your gender differences? No. You just communicate as equals, as just human beings. So, believe me, the people in the LGBTQ community too are just regular human beings. And so when they attack, for example, an actor who refuses, because there have been incidents of young Thai actors, um, just frankly honestly saying that yeah, they would rather not do BL dramas, they would rather do some other serious dramas, they would rather showcase their talent doing some good dramas. And what's wrong with saying that? You know, they were asked the question, they answered it honestly, and then they get attacked by the allegedly victimized minority, you know, community. You see what I'm saying here? Or even those who are pro LGBTQ, you know, but they're themselves not. And then so the vicious attacks that they land upon these actors. Listen, you have no clue as to how much filth there is in the media all over the world, okay? And that is because there has been a huge amount of exploitation. Now, in the beginning, it was all about exploitation of female actresses and models, and then you certainly have now found out that actually, hang on, it wasn't just the females, the males were exploited too. So we are always it's so difficult already to raise the issue of how girls are being exploited in the media if they want to get a decent role, you know. So imagine what the boys are going through, because they keep on calling the Thai LGBTQ media the soft power of Thailand. And well, yeah, I mean, see, they literally pushed their government to finally bring out a law, which their government was for a very long time reluctant to do so, because the majority now, understand this, the majority of Thailand are not pro LGBTQ. It's a huge majority in Thailand that do not like the concept of LGBTQ being acceptable. Okay, they do not like the concept of promoting LGBTQ like that. And yet, despite all of that, it is strange, isn't it? It's very odd how powerful the LGBTQ community was or is in the media. The media industry literally belongs to them in Thailand, and they called it their soft power. Yes, it was a soft power because this is what forced the government, this community on this media, this particular LGBTQ community in the media, with their constant promotions of BL dramas and their exploitations of young actors and actresses, but especially actors, and you know, them making BL the whole soft power, you know, of Thailand, and then using that to force the government to make a law in which the gay community is allowed to get married to each other, right? You see what I'm trying to say here? I'm not belittling or going against the LGBTQ community, because, as I said, as human beings, couldn't care less. Seriously, I personally do not give a frack about any of these things. Believe me, if it wasn't the divine law, nobody would have had a problem. But if God has made it a sin, He has done it for a reason. You have a problem, don't fight with us, go fight with Him. Seriously, we all have problems with God in so many ways as it is. Join the club, I guess. But you know what? Don't beat up the world for what God has put in as the rule of law. You have the guts. Then, when the time comes, when we're all dead and resurrected and up there in the hereafter, if you have the guts, then by all means, please ask God why it was declared a sin. Okay? So, back to the point at hand again. I really do not see why your sexual orientation or your sexual preference needs to be used in order to promote you. And I'm sure that, you know, that if you seriously, very seriously talk with those people in the industry, in any industry, the fact that they feel the need to come out, I'm sure if you ask them why do they feel the need, and I'm sure if they sit down seriously and talk to you about it, they would also say they haven't a clue about it. Why the need? Why is it suddenly the need for people to claim? I mean, what, you're going to get added privilege? Well, in the media, you are going to get added promotion, added privileges. You know, you're going to up the charts. You know, you're going to make more money for your producers and, you know, your agencies. So they're definitely going to push you there. In fact, as I said, even in the Western world and in many other countries, you will have noticed that those who are seriously straight have tried to claim that they are, you know, gay, just again, as I said, just to gain that that popularity, just to get that marketing, just to, you know, So you see, it's a bad move. It's a very bad move. Again, as I said, if you seriously sit and talk to an actor who's serious about his work, that he will also tell you that he does not understand what his personal private matters have to do with him proving himself to be an actor. He's out there proving himself to be a good actor. You either like his work or you don't. Why do you want to sell his personal life out there, you know? I don't think any. It's like okay. As I said, I'm also originally part of the media. I'm a writer. I'm a producer. Tell me again, as a writer, am I obliged to tell anybody who I am, what my personal private life is all about? I'm a writer. You like me for my books. You don't like me. You don't like me for my books. Since when did we ever prod into our favorite writers' personal lives to find out if they were gay or not? Seriously, this new trend, this new stupid superficial. It is superficial. You see, that's what I'm trying to say. I think back then we as people still had more sense of substance. You know, if we liked an actor, we just loved the actor's work. If we liked a singer, we loved the way they sang. You know, if we liked a writer, we just loved their books. That's it. I do not remember, and I was an avid reader. And as I said, I've worked in the media too. I do not remember a single instance in my life where I've had to find the need, the necessity to go and find out about the personal lives of my favorite writers. I have no clue about Agatha Christie. Okay, I just have all the general information that there is need to know about, and I don't even remember it. Guess what? I don't even remember if she married twice. Was it her first husband who's American or her second? Did she have a child or not? Who cares? Who bloody cares? I am here for her books. I'm here for her storytelling. I'm here for her amazing novels. That's it. You know, who cares? Her life is her life. My life is my life. I really don't see the need to promote, and I really also do. I would like to advise also those who do belong to the gay community. Believe me, you probably have no idea, but you are unconsciously being pressurized into coming out, you know, um, as a marketing strategy, in case you didn't know that. I mean, why? As I said, why the need? Why do you feel the need to tell people your sexual orientation? Did you ever feel the need before? No, I mean, seriously, did you ever feel the need before? Like, for example, if I'm hetero, do I feel the need to come out and tell everybody, oh, you know what, I'm not gay? Seriously, why? Why is this even a discussion? Is what I'm trying to ask here. I seriously don't get it. I really don't get it. Everybody wants their lives to be private, but nobody wants to respect the privacy of other people's lives. I really don't get the hypocrisy here, seriously. And I think that psychologically, the LGBTQ community has created this sort of an anti where they feel that you should that you have this need where you need to come out and tell the world that you're gay. You seriously don't. Nobody cares. At least I know I don't. Nobody cares. You're here to prove yourself. Prove yourself through your work. Prove yourself through your talents, and the rest be damned. You know. Why do basketball players suddenly need to tell people they're gay? Why even? Look, you've been playing basketball with your teammates for years. Did anybody ever ask you that? Why? Why do you need to come out and say? I mean, seriously, what you want to feel that sense of belonging? Is that it? That you want to feel that sense of, I don't know. You can quietly get that sense of belonging without announcing it to the world. You know that, right? You really can get that sense of belonging with the LGBTQ community very quietly. So people have been doing it for decades. They've been getting that sense of belonging from their own people, from their own, groups and communities, without announcing to the world. For example, have you ever seen some of your most legendary artists are Muslims? Your most legendary sportsmen all over the world are Muslims. Have you ever seen them just, say, oh, by the way, I need to tell the whole world. I think it's very important for the whole world to know that I am a Muslim. Seriously? Anybody. Unless they were asked. And then they would obviously talk about it. You know. But if they're not asked, they don't talk about it. Obviously, you people are asked too. But then I have noticed that there are many, as I said, in the media industry now, who are not asked. Nobody has a clue, nobody cares, everybody's assuming whatever they're assuming, and then suddenly your agencies, they push you. And I'm not talking about this particular Korean idol. It's just that this particular Korean idol just reminded me of this thought that I've been having over the recent years, considering the what I've seen the Thai actors go through. And I was thanking God that Korea and Japan had a better sense not to push their actors towards there. But I am sad and disappointed to say that the very new actors in Korea and Japan are also, it seems, being introduced through BL. Why? Are you running out of stories? You very successfully introduced all your new budding actors and actresses through romance, through uh, mysteries, through life slice of life dramas. What the frack made you think that you had to follow in the footsteps of the Thai media and the Thai TV industry, for example, and just shove them into BL? Stop doing that. Seriously, it's first of all, it's also lacking in creativity. Let's be honest here. You know what? In the beginning, when BL dramas were made, they actually had a storyline. You know, they actually had a storyline. There was something different about them. If the whole point of you wanting your audience to gravitate towards BL dramas so that they can understand the whole LGBTQ community was that you deliberately created very moving, very touching, very funny, but at the same time very substantial dramas. But now I'm sorry to say you are creating the worst kind of fluff now, okay? Not just the worst kind of fluff, but also the worst kind of plots with the worst kind of acting. And you're banking on the stuff that just because it's BL, it will sell. Like, I have, I'm sorry. What? Get your act in order, people. Get your act in order. Nobody should give a shit about anybody's sexual orientation here. Nobody should promote anybody's sexual orientation just so that they can get their agencies to make money. You know, I'm talking about the agencies, okay? Agencies, you need to stop pushing youngsters towards falsely claiming that they're of the LGBTQ community, because that can actually raise even bigger, worse issues between them and the LGBT community. And then, those of you who are genuinely part of that community, please do not succumb to the pressure that you need to, come out. You are here to prove your worth through your talent, not through your sexual orientation. Okay? Those of you who are coming out of your own volition, I have no problems with you. I don't know. But I'm just saying that generally I do feel that if all of us look deep within ourselves, I think we should realize by now that this is not normal, this is not natural. This need, this feeling that you need to come out. No. Why do you need to come out? Seriously. Again, what is it that you're doing that needs for you to come out and declare your sexual orientation? What is it that you're doing? Is what you're doing sexual? Is anything in your profession sexual? No, it's not. You don't need this in your life, okay? And you don't need people stripping you bare to make money off of you. You don't need any unnecessary, superficial warranties in your life, okay? None of us do, seriously. None of us do. Just be you, okay? And there's no need to succumb to this unconscious pressure to declare who and what or where we are. Okay, this is me signing out. Khuda Hafiz.